Welcome back to another edition of the Throws Doc podcast. I'm your doc, Dr. Charles Inferno. We're writing scripts to cure your throwing ailments. Heading into school today, Monday, April 10th, after a nice break. Some time off, able to relax and recharge, as they say. And all this time off, all 5 days, got me thinking about something else that has to do with time off, or maybe not so much time off, but throwing load management. And I don't think I've ever talked about this topic before, and I was thinking about it a lot the other day when watching baseball, and they're talking about pitch management and pitch counts and all that different stuff. And I thought to myself, well, I know I haven't, as far as I'm aware of, talked about this topic. But I wonder what other coaches might think about this topic also. And I have always been a proponent of kind of picking and choosing meets where we want to try, for certain events, we want to try and hit a big mark. Not necessarily peak, but as we cycle through training, and athletes early on in the season, especially outdoor, are able to identify, where we want to try and have a big mark, where in the season we're going to kind of work on other technical cues where we're not as concerned with having a big throw, but we're still taking a whole bunch of throws, right? And for some of the athletes out there, probably most that are listening, if you're a college athlete, you're the shot disc hammer person. I've never coached a male thrower that completed all 4 events at the same meet. I've had a couple female throwers that wanted to compete in the javelin also, which made for interesting times. But nonetheless, we still were able to compete in 4 events. And it just gets me thinking of, if we were to monitor that, what it would look like. I'll give an example. Senior year at Fredonia, actually I just wrote like 4 chapters about this in this book that I'm working on. Coach Barr sat me down, I remember in the beginning of January, coming back from break, and he said, we're not going to throw the weight every weekend. We're going to give you some time off. And I wasn't much of a shot putter, so some meets I would travel with the team and not compete at all. And I never really understood that through the indoor season. It really just kind of bothered me that I would travel and not throw. But then towards the end of the indoor season, I started watching my throws kind of increase in distance, and I did feel fresher. I didn't throw a lot during the week. I only practiced 2-3 days a week, depending on his schedule and my work schedule and student teaching and things. So my load my senior year was probably half of what it was my junior year. And my junior year was atrocious. But then again, I really wasn't, a fantastic thrower or anything like that. So fast forward to coaching at NAS, we tried putting that in place for one particular thrower, Brandon, who was a really good shot putter, discus thrower, and he blossomed into a pretty good hammer thrower. And he was not all about the load management. He, let's see his numbers, his senior year outdoor. So he's a 50-foot shot putter, about 44 meters in the discus and 48 meters in the hammer. So pretty respectable. He scored in all 3 events. Outdoor E8s. Finished, I think, 3rd in the shot puts. 2nd in the discus. 3rd in the discus and 2nd in the hammer, right? Something like that. He scored over 20 points between the 3 events. 6'6". He did score 20 points, 6'6" and And we can never figure out a good rotation for him because he just wanted to throw all three guns blazing every single meet. And towards the end of the season, once we kind of picked and chose what we wanted to excel at, he PR'd, I think, like 3 consecutive weekends, 2 out of the 3 events, which was just phenomenal at the time. But I don't know if, never really checked the numbers besides just anecdotal, a couple athletes and a couple athletes here and a couple athletes there with regard to what the best prescription is for that, right? Like, you could throw all 3 events every single weekend and try and PR in all 3, and I don't know how that's going to help in the long run. But the last meet that we went to, there were athletes that were doing it. So you're taking basically full effort, 6 full effort throws in the shot, 6 full effort in the discus, 6 full effort in the hammer. So that's 18 full effort throws, plus all the throws that you take to warm up in each event. So now you're looking at like 30 throws a meet, including warm-ups, let's say, right, hypothetically, right? Does anybody even take that many throws in a session? And I say that hypothetically because I don't think any of my athletes ever, except for one specific throwing session, did anyone ever take more than 30 full throws in competition or in practice. Even warming up, I don't think we ever took 30 throws. And that's total. That's not even, that's with sometimes 2 events, right? Shot, disc. So I just wonder, after season after season, or weekend after weekend, I guess, you're taking 18 full throws, 10 times a weekend. It's 180 throws a season, a full impact, which I don't know if that's a lot. I'm not a exercise physiologist, but I just wonder if any coaches out there are keeping track, load management, and trying to figure out what the best combination of events is to rotate for your athletes to give them the best, opportunities to be successful. Something interesting. I don't know if people even pay attention to this stuff, but I don't know. Do you keep track? Do you not have your athletes compete every weekend? Do you only have them compete in like 1 or 2 events if they're a 3-event thrower? What are your thoughts on that? Pros and cons of load management. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Throws Doc Podcast. I'm your doc, Dr. Charles Inferna, and have a great day.